Welcome to Smutty Scriptures, the podcast where three best friends gather together to explore the holy texts of fantasy romance novels. I'm Head Priest Blue Cromwell, and I am joined by my sisters in sin, Cuttlefish and Purple Space Cat, to tell you all about our thoughts on this episode's sacred text. We have finally gotten to Fourth Wing. We have been debating it for so long.
We got to it, and we got through it.
Yes, we have been debating, going through this. Should we put it in the reading order? We've heard a lot of people talking about it. We've read the entire thing, and I'm glad we did. Like, as far as
Me
the general
too.
impression,
Yes.
like, I will say, it's nowhere near, like, what I feel like, because we read ACOTAR together, all that fun stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to say anything too outlandish, so I will say it's, like, not near ACOTAR in my heart, but it is probably the most similar reading experience I've had, where I'm, like, diving into it. I am just obsessed. And just
I agree.
tearing it like apart, like more so than really not all of the Throne of Glass books, but definitely the start. Maybe not Empire Storms or anything, but
Oh no, I like this a lot better than Throne of Glass.
I have to disagree.
oh wait, what about which part?
One of us is always on the wrong page.
You don't
I
like
swear.
What is
Okay,
wrong with you?
Okay, so
That's
hold,
fine if you
hold
don't
on.
like it. It's okay.
Let me qualify my statement.
No, it's not.
I was not a fan, and I was actually pretty critical until the last maybe 150 pages. And then it was just, oh yes. And then the last couple hundred pages, I was like, boom, 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 boom. And I was, holy shit. And then the ending, and I'm like, okay, well, why wasn't the whole book like that? I very much disliked the amount of similarities between other books we've read in this one. I thought it was
Like
somewhat
what?
unoriginal.
Like what specifically?
Ow. Yeah, I thought it was somewhat unoriginal. I don't know if it's like a tropey kind of thing that I'm noticing, but it's like, okay, well, he's dark and mysterious. He's got like longer dark hair. He's got a whole dark, he's Azrael. He's Azrael without wings. He's Shadow Daddy. He doesn't get in touch with his feet. It's an Azrael like character. And
yeah, I mean, that was not an original that Sarah wrote,
well, to
that
me,
was not
that's what
fresh off the printer. Like,
Are you sure you even know what a printer is?
listen, we don't have to do this again.
While I enjoyed his nickname for her calling her Violence, which was very
I love
cute,
that so much.
it was from Blood and Ash. Like, you're a murderous little thing, aren't you? Well, I mean, it's literally, the line is, you're a really violent little thing, aren't you? And the line from Blood and Ash is, you're a murderous little thing, aren't you?
Mm-hmm.
It's.
I mean, that
come
also
on.
is not an original Blood and Ash.
No, but Mira is just more to me.
No, because I like Mira, so
I do too, sort of. Dane is like Tamlin or Kale. He was really Kale for me. It just seems so similar to a lot of the other stuff that we've read. And so I was just kind of like, and it got to the end and I was like, well, wait a minute. This is different. This is new. And I loved it.
Yeah.
That part. So I had to get over it. And it might be like a book talk fantasy thing, because I noticed a lot of similarities with ACOTAR and Throne of Glass, with those two series, and from Blood and Ash. And it, like, all the authors are kind of lumped in like a genre almost of their own, and they're kind of borrowing things off of one another. Maybe I'm just crazy. I don't know.
I mean, I would say in a grander sense, all artists do that, right? You have Tarantino, who will openly say he steals shots, and you'll have people like the Black Swan movie, which was a shot-for-shot stolen Japanese animated film. So, I mean, I think at the end of the day, there is a certain element of people are inspired off of one another and that kind of thing. But I felt like for me, there was enough uniquenesses in this story. Like, I really liked the fact that the main character, that her chronic pain disorder is a compliment to her. And it's the reason why she's so powerful. That was the coolest shit ever. Like, I loved that. I've never read a story with someone really with a chronic illness. That wasn't some like magically inflicted thing, maybe, but just like a chronic illness, and having that put on a pedestal about like how much pain they endure. Like, I love that. And I think I really haven't read a lot of maybe like romance fantasy that has dragons. I mean, I've definitely read stories of dragons here, Lord of the Rings, and there's so many. Like, dragons aren't a new concept by any means, but I haven't read them in a romantic setting. So I'm like, oh, like that's an added layer for me that I really enjoyed. So I just felt like there was enough there that made the story stick out to me.
It just took so long to get there for me. That's all. And in the beginning, it was very reminiscent of so many other things, like Hunger Games, for example, was a really easy pull out.
Yeah.
And it was good. I'm not saying I don't like the book. I'm just saying I wish that I had felt that way the whole time.
Sure.
I also don't like she's so tiny. I know, but she's like child size to me, and it's a little creepy because like trying to imagine that is like. And I'm looking at the art online and I'm like, that's a child. How is this not weird?
She's just small. Listen, okay, for our listeners here who might not know, both of you are what, 5'10", 5'11"?
Don't know.
Yeah. For us 5'5" people, her little 5'2" self, it's representation.
Fine. Okay, but why is he gotta be like 6'8"?
Well, yeah, I hate that.
Because he's not real.
Yeah, I do agree. Like, I've never been one for liking like extreme height differences. And I would say, I don't really know if I need the height disparity, but I do think you guys are just tall, okay? You guys are just really tall. And that's
pretty normal.
Like, damn.
Hey, leave me alone. It's pretty average.
You are like 5 inches above average height. And that's great, dude. I would fucking, if I could press a button right now and be like fucking 5'10", I would. But I like say I'm 5'6", but I'm not even there.
You would never have anybody stop telling you. Everybody would just continually tell you how tall you are. That's just what it's like.
And it's
so
like
just imagine that
with Violet being like, why are you so small?
Yeah.
It's the same.
Yeah.
If you're anything but average, you're gonna be,
Well, listen.
I cannot say that I actually really cared. I didn't even yeah, I know. Leave me alone. It did.
Wait, about the heights?
I forgot that there was such a height disparity until you brought it up.
Sure. Yeah. They don't seem to like.
I didn't think about it.
But yeah, I could see that.
I didn't think about him being super tall and her being super short. It didn't stick out in my brain. The only thing is like, oh yeah, she's got long hair. Yeah, I completely forgot that he had hair. I mean, I assumed, but I guess it just didn't matter.
The hair. Let's talk about the hair for just a second. I'm confused because there was no explanation. It was like, I don't know, the pigment just like gives up. What?
Because sickness. I feel like it was probably like a magical sickness that we're gonna find out about.
Yeah, I have a feeling that's like a greater complication of the plot line. I feel like the silver one thing is not just a nickname. But I
hope that we come back to that. Otherwise, what the fucking plot hole is that shit? I'm like, what? I don't even understand. Like, we're just gonna gloss over that the color changes even if she cuts it. Like, what?
Yeah,
I thought that was cool.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, okay, this is like a fucking plot thing. The minute her dragon was like, silver one, this, blah blah, I was like, what do you mean by that?
Okay, her dragon though.
I love
that he's like a grumpy old man, but like not in a creepy way. I was like, oh my god, I love this so much. And he's just always like grumble, 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 blah blah blah. I'm gonna give it slightly a low blow, and then he's like, yeah, and then she's like, oh yeah, well, fuck off to you too, and he's like. They just do that back and forth, and I love it. I was like, oh my god, the banter.
Yeah.
In an interview, she said that she did Karen off of her dog, who is now deceased. And she's like, she kind of made a joke about it being a good thing, which was kind of weird. But yeah, she had a dog that was like an old dog, and it was grumpy, and that's what she made him off of the dragon. Or dragon off of the dog.
Yeah, I can respect that. Did love the dragons. I liked a lot of the writing, but there was a lot of millennial-isms.
I was looking for them since you started it before I did, and you mentioned it, I was looking for them and I still didn't see them.
Give me one example.
I'm so steeped in millennialism.
Page 116 is my first example.
116?
Oh, no.
Yes. And it's right at the top of the page.
I have
something, an adrenaline rush, but sure, we can go with that. Positive thinking for the win. For the win. That's a millennialism. No one says that.
Oh, fuck you.
I say that all the time. What do you mean?
Exactly. That's how I know. That's a textbook phrase.
Well, to quote Ride Knock, listen, knock it the fuck off.
Listen, I
absolutely forgot all of those people. All of the side characters, except for Rhiannon.
Yeah,
I was like, Riddick, I don't know any of
that would make more sense.
I mean, I like the other one, but fuck it.
It's okay. We can only pronounce it Riddick if I can picture him being Vin Diesel.
Listen, you can picture him being Vin Diesel. I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
So going on with the character thing, a lot of the side characters, I was kind of wishy-washy. Like they kind of all blended together for me. I feel like this would definitely be one of those TV shows or movies where everyone is hot for no reason.
Everybody is way too hot.
But that's not necessarily a bad thing.
Yeah.
It did kind of screw with me that my boss's name is one of the ones that's used.
That would be weird for me.
I was just like, wait, what? What? Every time that they said it.
But yeah, general impression. I was having a good time with it. I tore it up. I read through a lot of it really quick. Yeah, I kind of want to, I would go for the second book. Like, I'm interested enough. There are some series like From Blood and Ash that I personally don't think I will be continuing.
I'm picking it next time.
I will kill myself.
No, you won't.
No, but I get closer to the edge every day. But I would pick up the second book of the series. I feel like it's something that I'm willing to give potential, because I honestly give books that benefit of the doubt, right? Because I did have to convince you guys to get through ACOTAR, the first book. And I was like, dude, Missy, it's so good. Like, I was like, listen, I know this is Beauty and the Beast retold and all this shit, and Pharaoh's annoying and whiny and all this, okay, but you have to keep going. You know,
it got to chapter 55, and I remember messaging you, what the?
Exactly.
Are you kidding me?
Even if it's at the end, that if you were like, you know what, I started to really like it at that point.
Yeah.
Still better than Sarah J. Maas did, and we fucking love her. So I'll take that.
You're not wrong.
I'll take that. Do you guys have any favorite parts, any standouts?
Yes.
Go on.
All right. This is just one of the many, because I'm looking through all of my marks in here, and every single mark I made in this book is about banter.
Uh-huh.
I love good banter. Nothing gets my heart more than whenever a good line or quip back and forth, and then I could just sit there and, like, you know, kick my feet and just squeak.
Uh-huh.
In the text 348, whenever they're bantering with each other, quit telling her about my sleeping habits. I'm not dignifying that demand with a response. The other one is my favorite. I was like, I love it so much. And then there was another one where they talk about a dick measuring contest.
Yeah, that was hilarious.
That's 338. Like, do you boys just want to whip it out and measure? It'd be faster.
Yeah.
I need it. I need banter in my books.
I feel you. Speaking of, like, not that scene specifically, but the whole penis thing, the size thing they were joking about. Can we talk about, okay, I've complained about this in books before, so I wanted to mention, it's not my favorite part, but it was like a call out that I was like, I have to make this, because I complain a lot in certain books that it's always like, once we get to smut, it's like the impossible length of him, and there would be no getting used to it, and like all that shit. It's so annoying. And they had a perfectly normal, good smut scene where it wasn't even mentioned.
I did. I noticed that too.
And I was like, yes, this is it.
Okay, but whenever he provides her the image in his mind of like what, like his flashback from his point of view, what it looked like.
Damn, that was hot.
Yeah. I was like, he gets it.
I loved the first sex scene so much more than the second one. I was just like, God damn, it's been so long since I had somebody throw me against a wall like that.
They were the good breaking stuff. Shit. Like, there was as much smut as there was to just the room being destroyed. And I was like, this is fun. I also really liked, I don't think we've ever had this conversation on this podcast yet. And I think we need to have it. Because we read so much smut. And there's so many different words for body parts and blah, blah, and this. And every fucking novel uses, like, member or his manhood or whatever. And I don't even necessarily mind those words. But when they used cock in this story, I felt like I'd been freed. I was like, wow, incredible. You mean you're not going to talk about his manhood into her trembling womanhood or something? Like, thank God, bro. Like, I was, and they used the word clit. They used the word clit normally. I was like, thank you, dear fucking God. Like, I cannot fucking deal with all these, like, really artsy ways to get to that point in a story where they're like, again, her womanhood or her fucking pearl or whatever the fuck they're gonna say. It's so stupid, bro. Just tell me what, I don't need an exact diagram, but just use the fucking word, dude. I just have had enough.
I disagree with you.
You don't like the word cock?
No.
I don't like it so much.
I disagree with you in a different way. I don't mind when they use different words because otherwise it's like the cock.
Different words.
If you use different words, it's like it adds variety to the reading. It's like if you use the same sentence structure for every single sentence in a paragraph, it's like they went to the store, they did this, they did this, they did this, they did this, they did this. It's so repetitive. So I feel like you have to switch it up and use different words and different ways of describing things to make it interesting.
Yeah. I feel you on the using a variety of terms. My thing is, I feel like I've just noticed like a complete avoidance of terms like dick or cock or whatever. Like, I've just noticed a complete lack of them at all. And that's why they go into these really flowery descriptions and this. And I don't always need all of that. You want to throw it in as a treat, I guess. But I don't want to feel like my author is afraid of writing a 4-letter word.
I can tell you, I do not want to read the word penis.
Penis is not sexy, though. But like cock or dick,
I don't want to read that context. One.
I am the worst person to have this conversation with.
You can't even say the word pussy.
I have some issues.
I hate the word schlong.
No one uses it.
I can read it, but anytime that anybody has ever been like saying it, I laugh. I can't. I definitely can't say, I don't know. It just makes me very uncomfortable. All of them. None of them have ever fit ever. Like ever. So I actually dislike those words because they're so abrasive in my brain that I was just like, why can't we just say him and her? Like, I don't know why it's going to be like, it's as he slides into me. Like, I get the point. I don't need a word. Like, his blank slides into blank. If you just say he into her, like, I get it.
So you prefer all the like like he shoved his member to the hilt type of vibe. You're like, that's good. That's a sentence I can read.
I don't know why we need a noun. Like, why can't it just be he slammed to the hilt? Or like, you know what I mean? Like I don't need he slammed what? I get what. I know what we're talking
people
about.
Like me are like, he slammed into her. Like, what the fuck? Did he just like throw her against the wall? Like, what just happened?
Yes, at the same time.
Did he punch her in the face? Like, he slammed into her. How?
I know what we're talking about.
Goofy.
But yeah, I'm a little weird about that one. So I know I'm like one of the weird, prudy kind of, which is very funny because I want descriptions.
Right.
I just don't want those words.
Right. Like, you're like, no, put a gun in there, but do not tell me what the fuck it is. Like, bro, please.
Put a gun in there, but don't say the word penis.
I'm making me red right now. I can feel it.
How do you feel about the word phallus?
I'm okay with that.
That's so dumb. I just hate that. And the sexual context? No.
I think I need a vocab list.
Like as just a word?
All right, next time on the podcast, get ready for your next vocab quiz.
Oh my god! No. I don't mind that word as a concept, but if someone like used that in a sexual connotation, I would be like, bro, don't get scientific with me right now. Don't do that.
Unless it's two scientists.
Even then,
no,
this has got to be the one thing that's not about science.
Oh god, no! I actually kind of really low key want to read that, where it's two scientists and they're just like, my hypothesis is that you like this or that, and I think that'd be hilarious.
You want them to test out their chemistry, that type of shit.
Oh, yeah!
God damn it,
it's so fun.
You're very silly.
I know. I don't make any sense.
No, I mean,
I think I just don't like the words that are abrasive, and to me, it probably goes back to childhood trauma somewhere. I'm sure. I don't know. Yay! I guess I can talk about it in therapy.
But instead, we're here on the Smutty Scriptures podcast
because it's cheaper than a therapist.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, fair enough.
Who needs to work through your problems? We can read about other people fucking them. Oh yeah, they totally got to second base in the snow, and I was like, yes. Snow.
The crunch. I know you like that he smelled like mint. I tagged that the
first
time they mentioned the mint thing.
I knew that Purple's gonna lose their shit whenever they mentioned that the dragons were babies.
If somebody hadn't ruined it.
Well, I ruined for Cuddle
the mint.
The two dragons.
Yeah, well, you did because you sent me a TikTok.
Yeah, I didn't realize that in her pronunciation guide she said "and her second dragon" or whatever. So I was like, damn, because that was a really cool moment. So I am sorry, but I mean, karma got me back.
We all spoiled everything for each other. It's fine.
I feel like that's a sign we just tore through a book. Yeah, that we keep spoiling it for each other over and over again. But I think we might have to for my favorite, the two dragon reveal. I was like, ooh. And then, of course, I like the scene with Violet where she does the boot swap. I thought that was really cool. The whole reveal at the end. I mean, holy shit. That was crazy.
That made me so mad. I finished reading it right before bed, right next to the bed. Mm-hmm. And all I had to do was walk 2 feet and then go to sleep. And I was pacing back and forth. I was like, I was trying to tell my husband the story. I was like, you don't understand. Sit down. I'm going to tell you. You don't get it. So he's just like, oh my God, stop reading before bed.
You're like that guy from TikTok. No, you don't understand.
Yeah, the history guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a big reveal. It's nice that we waited until the second book is now out because we don't have to wait for this cliffhanger for, well over a year to get another book. So, not that we're going to jump into the next one immediately, but we don't have to wait, years, hypothetically. Do you have a favorite part, Cuddle?
I guess my favorite part has to be the very last 2 sentences.
Sure.
Because I kind of screamed a little bit when it says, Brennan just grins and opens his arms. Welcome to the revolution, Violet. Those I was like, motherfucker. And I almost threw my book. So that's probably going to be my favorite part. However, I did enjoy 348 at the bottom. And this is, of course, Shadow Daddy talking. He says, or maybe it was when I realized the bruises on your neck were fingerprints and I wanted to kill them all over again just so I could do it slowly.
Ooh.
I just want someone to kill for me. That's all I want. I feel like I'm asking for a lot. Just, take somebody out for me.
Right. Kill my potential assassinators.
Mm-hmm. 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 Yeah, but it was very much touch her and you die kind of vibes, and that was pretty cool. I thought that was hot.
Yeah.
It was hot.
Yeah, I should have killed him slower. I loved their flirtatious back and forth. The first time she's like, oh my God, our dragons just have to be by each other and that's why he's here. And then he's like, you never thought that it was just because I couldn't stay away from you.
Oh, yeah?
I was like,
yeah.
He was kicking my feet. I was like, stop. Stop.
I'll get right here.
Oh my God. So I kind of loved it, but I'm traumatized from Sarah J. Maas now because I'm like, they're already get together and it's book 1.
They were, and then they weren't.
I mean,
she still loves him.
To quote page 18, he was the most exquisite man I've ever seen, which is literally how Sarah J. Maas does mates. And we haven't had any conversation about mates, but they can talk in each other's heads. Just saying. I know it's like, that's the dragon bond. Yeah, okay. Mm-hmm. And then he's got gold flecks in his eyes, which was only for me. Listen, I'm just saying, stole half that shit, but it fits. So I was like, that's the thing.
What?
I don't even know if mates are in this universe, but that I knew they were gonna get to smoocheroos.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, since you've had some moments that stood out to you in that way of not so much negative, but just more so like, oh, this is like overused or whatnot. Like, do you have a least favorite part? Like anything that along those lines that got you too much, or more just like
I did not enjoy Dane. Well, okay, so I did not enjoy the roller coaster that Dane put me on. I was all for Dane in the beginning. I was like, okay, yes, like let's go to your bedroom. Oh my gosh. And he's like all protective and hell yeah, like
we grew up together. He's like the boy next door. Oh, yeah. I was like, oh, I love it so much. Where's mine? Yeah, thank you.
But then he just wouldn't shut the fuck up. And it pissed me off.
I hate it when men speak.
No.
Kept
if you were an actual cat, I'd have the little spray bottle on. Stop.
And then he kept touching her fucking face. I'm like, this is weird.
Yeah.
And then of course, it dawned on me and I was like, you motherfucker.
Yeah.
And I even told Blue, I was like, I'm thinking this is going to happen. Mm-hmm. And then boom, I was right. And I did not enjoy any of that. I actually think I disliked Dane more than I disliked Tamlin.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, I see that. I still don't think that he's the worst though.
Dane or Tamlin?
Dane.
Really? You thought there's someone else in this book that was other than Mom?
Nope, it was Mom.
Yeah. Mom was a bitch.
Yeah. Because what's going on here? The big reveal at the end just leads me into so many questions.
Yeah.
Whenever I was explaining at night to my husband about the book right before I went to bed, it dawned on me. I was like, oh my God, that makes so much sense. Why everybody was like, oh my God, I'm so sad to see such potential be wasted. And she was all like, yeah, maybe like also my brother's dead. But yeah, sure, it's all about his powers. And then they were all like, yeah.
Right.
That's fucking why, because they weren't talking about losing the brother as in like he's dead. They're talking about him like defecting.
Mm-hmm. So he's like dead
you
to
think
them.
they know?
I think everybody knows that he's defected.
See, this is going to be one of those unanswered questions that we talked about because
like all those high up people, I mean.
Yeah. And if Violet's father died from like heartbreak when Brennan died, then was he just killed? Like,
I don't know. I was thinking that Dad was alive.
That's what I thought too.
And then it came out I was like, nope, Dad's alive. We're going to find out Dad's actually alive. That's what Dad set it up. Dad left. It's very much like Enola Holmes, where like you left breadcrumbs and go find him. And then it's like, brother. And I was like, you motherfucker. Because he didn't do that.
Does Mira know? Because Mira gave Violet that book of Brendan's like writing. So she's like, does she aware?
No, I don't think Mira knows.
I don't think Mira knows.
It's tough.
I don't think Mira is going to go along with it. I think we're going to have a falling out for a bit. She'll come around, but I really feel like Mira is going to have a hard time pivoting to join the resistance. Because that's kind of what they're setting her up to be, She's like the paladin, I guess, of the group, and she would be an oath breaker at that point, and that's going to be a hard pill to swallow.
Yeah. I mean, maybe for her two siblings who she loves, I don't know. We'll have to see.
Speaking of swallow, why did we not have a...
No,
sorry, segues.
I love that. I love a transition.
Speaking of swallow, though, I thought for a hot minute we were going to have some fellatio, and I was disappointed, actually. I was like, oh, And then we didn't. Why?
I know. I think the same thing every single time we read like a smutty book in general. And I'm like, come on, man. Dude, for real?
Like, listen, I think the three of us having had vaginas means that we know what it's like to be in relations with people with penises. And let's face it, the majority of the time, especially when you're younger, they're not very giving. It is more about receiving for them. At least that was always my experience, and everyone I ever knew. So when all of these books are like, no, I just want to taste you, I'm like, yes, but that's slightly unrealistic, because that's like, you have, what? You have to. Am I wrong? Am I crazy?
No. I think, it's hard to compare to real life with like fantasy books, because this whole thing is
dragons.
Like, just more like they openly kind of say like the writer like culture is like very sexual, like because you could die whenever, so like no one cares, and like you have that kind of like back and forth. But
you're really gonna try to tell me that none of those men are like just shut up and suck my dick? Like
I'm sure none of them. I'm sure some of them.
Like, I feel like Dane would be that kind of guy.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Hiding behind a pillar.
Yeah, he's like, I can only receive.
It's like the weirdest place for him to have all those conversations behind a fucking pillar.
He's like, if I go down on you, I am going to see your memories, by the way. It works no matter where.
It's going to be her face.
Well,
I don't know.
Let's just joke about her lips here, But anyway.
We've, all the smut that we've read, I think we've only read a girl go down on a guy once. And it was in Haunting Adeline.
Yeah.
And even then, I feel like that was a little weird.
No.
What? When?
No.
What?
Well, it was also one that we read too.
Yeah. And then it was also in Den of Vipers.
I forgot about that one.
Oh, yeah.
I take it back then. I take it back.
I will say,
it was wrong.
I don't think, no, I'm not speaking for myself, but I have spoken to a lot of femme people who would maybe be in more of that position, and attracted to people with penises. I've met a lot of people that are like, I don't ever want to do that. Not into it. So I don't know the exact mixes. Obviously, I'm just drawing from personal experience for like talking to people. But I've talked to a lot of women, cis women specifically, that are like, I don't do that. Sorry. No, never going to happen.
Really? I mean, good for them.
I mean, it couldn't be me. But go off, queen. But, like whatever. You draw your boundaries wherever you want them. But I don't know how common of a fantasy it is to read. Like, I love it, but I don't know if you're trying to market a book towards like a mostly like female market, I really don't know the mix of how well that sells versus not.
Okay, so that's what you're thinking. Your assumption is like, yeah, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah,
I just think for realism purposes, it's like, okay, well, we're always
realism purposes. The book with dragons doesn't have dick sucking.
I mean, listen. Well, and like, you're just gonna not even offer, like, the man will make you finish 3 times before he even does you, and then you're like, all right, well, that's it, by the way.
Thank you.
Like, like, he's not asking because he can't really ask, because then he'd be like, whatever. But so I don't know, Violet, maybe think about it. I don't know, something to think about.
I bet Nesta would do it.
She did. And then ruined.
Did she?
Asriel's
under
day.
the table. That's right.
Yeah. So,
man, here's some
queen.
I guess. But
yeah, it's definitely not all of them. But it definitely just depends. But I think we all can agree that that very first sex scene is the best one.
Between Jesus the ones Christ. In here, yes, but of the ones that we've read, total, no,
not at all.
Oh, I don't know. I need a good breaking stuff sex scene.
Sure. Okay.
It was very Rowan of him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was giving Rowan and Aelin for sure. Next up, they would just have to be on a beach or something.
I'm saying, is there fine.
We'll probably get more of it, because I do think, obviously, her trust is broken, and I don't think that that's wrong of her, but I do think she still loves him, so.
Of course she
I
does.
think, we're going to get some more smut in the future. So, hopefully some more scenes, and hopefully more of what you're fucking looking for, Rebecca. Okay? But whatever.
I do have to say, sex aside, I do think that one of my most favorite things was that they stole from her mom.
Right.
That was a fun little escapade that we read.
Yeah.
I was like, yes.
Yeah. Yeah, that was an interesting one. We love a teamwork moment, to be honest.
Yeah.
I really liked the whole setup. Like, I love a good training arc. I feel like it's the anime fan in me. But I love a training arc. I'll eat it up.
How did you feel about the death of our loved one at the end?
Liam?
I cried.
I did not like that.
There were tears in my book.
Yeah, I didn't like that at all. I was very sad.
I feel
when he
like
takes
he
off
was
the little carving that like
yeah.
Oh, what the fuck? That was fucked up.
I feel like Liam was done a disservice by the author. He was just a pawn the whole time. And that just made me sad.
I like and I dislike it. Like in my head I was like, no, Liam, because we already like saved him once and like the whole thing. But part of me is just like, I like the universe a lot. I like the idea that a lot of the characters that I love can die at any time. Like, I think that that's not something that we get to see in books in general, but I would say like fantasy books, I tend to stay away from that. Even like the ending of Throne of Glass, had a lot of deaths. I won't say what, just in case anyone hasn't read through those yet. But most of those were not like main characters. There was like one or two side characters you got some time with. I like the idea, and Liam is still there, but I just felt like it gave me that, not quite Game of Thrones feeling, but it was something similar where I was like, damn, anyone can just fucking die at any time. Because they set up the world in the beginning to be so vicious, and even the tests they're doing, like you could die and this person dies, and then Violet watches someone die in front of her, and then this is happening. So it's now that we have our first like actual like live combat scene, it wouldn't be realistic to me if like no one fucking went, R.I.P. though, Liam.
Yeah, that was, I did like Liam.
Yeah.
He was a good character. I just wanted, a little bit more. I do have another piece that I really liked. I wanted to point out because I want to see Purple's face light up when I say it. On page 428, whenever we find out that little dragon has a harness that hooks into big dragon.
Yeah.
You're cutting out a lot. What's going on?
There's a lot of reactions happening.
You're just being vicious. I forgot about it till just now.
Yeah, I think Cuddle, you texted me about that, and you're like, Purple's gonna go crazy when they fucking read this.
I was like, no, she can't keep up. She can't. I don't know what she's gonna do. You know what? She's gonna have to stay home.
Hey guys, Head Priest Blue here. Just interrupting our sermon to tell you all about the new Smutty Scriptures Patreon. We are making extra episodes and behind-the-scenes fun, and you can access the Discord and join our community to chat with me and Cuddle and Purple. I am just so excited that we're able to stream some of these episodes live and to be making even more content for you guys. Check out our Instagram, Smutty Scriptures, for the link and to get updates on all things sinful.
I feel like because we collectively, we read a lot, we watch a lot of movies, we engage with a lot of different types of content. We play a lot of video games. So a lot of different story arcs and tropes and patterns. Like we recognize, the three of us, patterns in pieces of stories.
Sure.
Very easily. It actually irritates the fuck out of my husband whenever we watch a movie and 5 minutes in, I'm like, he did it this way. He did it here. This is what happens. And that's the bad guy. And he's like, what the fuck? And I'm like, sorry, that's what it is. And then he gets mad. And he's like, you fucker.
Yeah.
So in the very beginning of the book, this fucked me. This subverted all of my pattern recognition. And that is why I kind of like put it on a shelf, because in the beginning, there's like the dedication, but there's like a little snippet on the opposite page that talks about how Yago military, and then the dedication is about Yago military.
Yeah.
And then I also know that like the author is military family person.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, oh, if everything is Yago military, she is not gonna make the main person go against the military. Like, that's not gonna be a thing. So I was like, okay, so no, there is not going to be a twist like that. It's very much about duty and honor. It's going to be very much like we don't betray our country. we bad guys are bad guys. That's how military go. And I was like, yeah, no, none of that. So then whenever they did it, I was like, oh, you lied.
I can see that 100%. Is that
awesome.
kind of what like surprised you the most then? That kind of heel turn, like knowing that about the author and then getting into her story and then being like, oh,
yes, absolutely. Yeah. So in a sense, the entire book surprised me the most, but it was because of that first informational section before we even got to the actual content. Whenever it was describing what was in the book and, you know, dedication with the author and all of that fun stuff. And then the background of the actual author herself, it subverted my expectations in such a deliciously good way. It's been so long since I went into something with expectations of ABC, like pattern recognition, and it not be like that.
Yeah.
It reminds me of, I know that you have not read it, Blue, but you did, Cuddle, the fucking series with the
Zodiac
twins.
Academy or something?
Yeah, Zodiac Academy. That was the first like college school book trope series thing that I had ever.
Smutty Harry Potter?
Fuck you. That was the first like college setting book that I had ever read. So all of those tropes were completely new to me. And I don't think I even had ever read a like teacher student thing, like not even anything like that. So like all of everything completely brand new. And I'm not saying those are the best books in the world, but what I am saying is that it was so refreshing to read something, not know really not know what was going to happen. Not even like that's why I got you into reading them, Cuddle. Do you remember? Where I was like, okay, but like I have no idea what's going to happen. And you're like, well, what is it about? I'm like, I don't know.
That's the point.
What's coming? Yeah. And it's like I devoured that series, and I did the same thing with this book. Like once I actually sat down to read it, I inhaled it like it was air, because I was reading it with that first little dedication and whatnot in mind, and the background knowledge about the authors. I was like, okay, well, that's not going to happen, so it's got to be something else. And I'm like, holy shit.
Yeah, I feel you. I had moments like that with this book too, where like I almost like as soon as they introduced the idea of this mysterious black dragon, but he's not here to bond, blah blah, and then her like number one fucking enemy is like, oh my god. I was like, of course she's gonna get that fucking dragon. But then they did the big reveal with two dragons, and I was like, oh girl, I was shook. I was like, Rebecca. So there are moments where like she gave me what I expected, which made me feel like, ooh, cool, like I know things. And then she was like, but also, bah! And I'm like, damn, Rebecca, how'd you do it? Like the Brennan review, I don't think any of us really saw that coming at the end, you know? I don't think that would have been.
Like I said, I thought it was Dad.
Right? So that would have been fucking like crazy.
I would have bet my entire TBR that it was Dad.
Oh no.
Wow.
Your TBR. That's like all of my Amazon, all my Kindle, all my paper, all my like 5 lists of I'm gonna buy these books one day on Amazon. Everything in my TBR, my exhaustive list. I would have bet that. And I was like, no, it is Dad. I am dying on this hill. And then it was like, shit, it's the brother. And then it was like, the brother. You.
Yeah, they had a lot of good moments like that were like surprising and a little different.
I would probably, I'm not going to call it a hot take, because it's, when I say it, I mean, you're right, you guys are going to go, oh my God. I loved that we had a best friend who was actually supportive
and was bi or pan.
Just pimping.
Yeah, I just thought she was really cool. She like covered for her with Dane and Yeah, I loved her.
I do like the foundation of their friendship. Like that moment where Violet chooses to like swap out her boot and basically risks her own life to save this random stranger at that point. That's good shit.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I like that quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of made me mad though. If those were like the normal boots, like that you get given, like in preparation, like to do the thing, and they are slick on the bottom and they know that it's a problem, they're essentially giving you death boots.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's kind of fucked up because now you're artificially creating disaster.
Well, that's kind of the point, right? To kill the ones that they conscripted, but socially acceptable.
Here's my confusion with the boots. We have knives. Mm-hmm. Just tell her to lift her feet up and score the bottom.
But they wouldn't be rubber. They would still be slick in places. It wouldn't be enough. It would help, but it wouldn't be enough.
Yeah.
And why can't you crawl? Where's that rule written?
I mean, I'm
just
sure
sit
you
on your ass and scoot.
But people would push you off just like Dickhead would.
Yeah.
I feel like everybody'd be like, oh my God, that's so smart. I'm doing that too.
Well, I mean, you got to do everything stylistically too. You can't just get through the test. You also have to be cool looking while you do it.
I guess.
Yeah.
I wonder if, because you remember it started raining right when she got up there and it was her turn. And then it stopped raining as soon as it was over.
Foreshadowing?
Yeah, but also I wonder, since it came out that her whole thing is lightning and it's all emotions based.
I thought it might have been Mom. Because Mom can't control storms.
Oh, you think Mom was trying to kill her?
I think the mom killed her husband, so why not kill her, right?
Whoa, what? You think Mom killed Dad?
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
That man died real quick of heartbreak. No, he fucking didn't. No, he fucking didn't. And he wrote that letter about Violet knowing with the time to pick the right choice and the history, blah blah. That's fucking. He fucking knew. He fucking knew his son was doing that. And
I was so mad about that book letter because it was inside the fucking book, like inside the book. So that means that the only way she was ever going to be able to find it was if she ripped open the book. Actually,
or unless she
the binding.
had some violent sex. That's it. You know, that's what Dad was like.
Or
I know
she finds her brother one day, and then she's like, "I'm confused." And he's like, "Do you have that book?" Yeah, but I think Mom.
She being scribe lady would never have ripped open that book,
right? But unless her brother was like, "Hey, there's a note from Dad," but that's implying that he would know about it, which I'm not entirely sure if he would know about that moment.
I'm mad at him. I don't want to talk about him.
The brother?
Yes, brother.
Also, okay, one small thing about the Brennan thing that irritates me, just because I get it, it's like a thing, and shows and movies and books and everything, but as someone who has a brother, we have never referred to each other as brother and sister in conversation. Like, his first line to her is like, that definitely wasn't an accent, little sister. What the fuck? If my brother walked up to me and was like, hey, little sister, I'd be like, did you just get, like, replaced by, like, what do you mean? Like, I've never heard a pair of siblings
What have you done with my brother?
themselves like that. Like, if I walked up to my brother and was like, hey, big bro, he'd be like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like, what is actually wrong with you? And I just feel like siblings never talk to each other like that. But then I think they kind of did that for the audiences. They're like, what about this? The person was like, I don't fucking remember who that is.
You'd be like, who the hell is Brennan?
Yeah, what do you mean by that? But it's just stupid, bro. There had to be another sentence you could put in there that wasn't. That definitely wasn't an accent, little sister. Bitch, you don't know her name anymore? The fuck? So that was.
I mean, they probably could have done it something like, man, you do look just like Dad, or something like that, you know?
Anything would have been better, I feel like. But speaking of characters we actually like, do we have a favorite, a least favorite?
I think least favorite's Mom or Dane.
Yeah,
Mom.
Dane fucking sucks. I was rooting for him. We were all
I really want this.
Yeah. He fucked it up, though.
Did. I hated it whenever they described him with facial hair, though. I was like, no. No.
Why? Because of the whole boy next door thing?
Because facial hair is attractive, and if you want me to hate him, you can't give him facial hair.
Goofy. Dane's pretty awful. Not a big fan. Obviously, Jack was terrible, but we don't really have to deal with that situation anymore, so that was nice. As far as a favorite, I mean, I do like Violet and what's his name? Xaden? Is that what we're calling him?
Yeah, that's what I called him.
Yeah. No, I'm sorry.
Yeah, the names in this book are kind of... I don't like it.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. The general public doesn't either, so it's all good.
Yeah, fair
I like
enough.
Violet. Not just because it's purple.
Right.
Oh, goofy. Yeah, that part was cute. I mean, I will say, like, it was just like, everyone has all these really cool and interesting names, and then it's Violet. I'm like, okay, all right.
I love Violet, though. I love the fact that she is not perfect. I love the fact that her hair is different and fucked up, and that it's because of a medical thing. And I hope that we get more information on it later. I love the fact that everybody like counts her out and she's like an underdog because of her body and all of that fun stuff, like about it being about capability. And then she, routinely just throws it in their face and overcomes all the odds. But I love so much that it wasn't like I fixed my body.
Yeah.
I love the fact that she just makes everything work for her. So she stays the same. She just uses her brain to manipulate the situation to work around it. And her problems, quote unquote, like,
yeah, she needs tools for accessibility purposes, but she does just fine when she has them. And that's a fair and reasonable request.
I gotta be honest, though. I was really disappointed when her power came out as lightning until the final battle. And then I was like, oh, okay, well, that's fine.
I can't wait for her second power, dude. I can't wait. That's going to be crazy. I have a theory of what I think it is, too.
What do you think it is?
Do you think it's tied to the time thing?
No. Maybe. Well, no, I don't think so. What I think... No, I don't know. It was just weird that they said this, because there was like a part that I tagged... Let's see. Because they described Tarn?
Tarn?
Grandpa Dragon. They described him, or his last rider, rather, as that, like, power ability and, like, siphoning and being able to essentially reroute, I guess. And I thought that was interesting, which, speaking of, now that we know Brennan's alive, is that guy good? Or because Darren nearly died, so did that guy die to bring Brennan back? I have a lot of questions about how that all works, but on page 130, they talk about the passages from Violet's perspective, and it's, I roll my eyes into my utter embarrassment, blah, 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 and still pulling away now that I'm free. I lean in just a little, like I can siphon off some of his strength. He certainly has enough to spare. And I was like, that's a weird line. It's a weird line to add. But I liked the implication. I mean, maybe the whole, like, a couple shares power thing. Again, been done. Been fucking done. In every fucking series of all time fucking ever. But I just thought that line of the siphoning off some of his strength, and he certainly has enough to give. I'm like, why are we going over this again? So I think that would be interesting, because she has to, well, not has to, I guess, but if she has two dragons, she would have two different abilities.
Later on at the end of the book, in the final battle, they say something to the effect of that he has the darkness, talking about Zaid, but she has the light. And I thought that was a bit of a stretch for lightning, because I feel like those are two different things. Mm-hmm. I think the light is a byproduct of the electricity. I don't think she's bringing forth light. I feel like she's bringing forth electricity that just so happens to light up the sky. So, but I don't know, maybe that's a thing that they're going to continue and just enhance and make them mirror each other.
Yeah, I can see that.
I think it would.
She's got to be able to like make it herself, though.
What do you mean?
Because he has shadows are fucking everywhere. Lightning, you need a very specific mixture of elements to make lightning. And his shadow thing, if we're going thinking about them being equals, like what you just said, that they're going to build her up to be the mirror image of him. He can do shadows inside, in big places, in small places, outside, all over the places, just all the places. Mm-hmm. And she needs to have her power do the same thing in all of the places. And right now with lightning, that's a very outside ability.
Yeah, that would be cool if she did learn to conjure it like from herself.
I don't know what
like chain lightning in D&D.
In the same way, maybe. Like controlling light in the same way that he controls darkness would be interesting.
Oh, so maybe it's actually electricity.
Because there's a spark between them.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Rebecca, stop. You're so silly.
You know, they say that the signet, it comes from within, that it's a, oh, what do they call it? It's like a
reflection.
A reflection of their true selves or their embodiment of who they are. So he's called the Master of Shadows or Secrets or something. So it would make sense that Brendan would be a mender, because now we're seeing that he's literally going to be leading the resistance.
He's going to be fixing the world.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He's going to die.
They bring him back just for him to die, like first set of chapters in the new book, and just, enough of that.
I can't fix this one, little sister.
What is Mira's? Do you guys remember what Mira's power is? Is it fire?
Shield stuff? Oh no, she can strengthen wards.
Yeah, well, she can like shield stuff, can't she? Like externally.
I don't know. I thought it was all like, yay, strengthening wards.
Yeah, she's able to strengthen wards, I suppose, is all it's really given a description for.
That's kind of a shitty power.
I mean, it's kept a lot of people alive, so that's good.
I mean, sure.
If we're looking at them like metaphors for what they do to the country or to where they're from, that kind of just by definition would put Mira on the side of, her mom while the storm is brewing, right?
Wow.
And that would put Brennan on the side of the resistance. And it was kind of interesting to me that Violet would be lightning, which is almost a derivative of her mom.
Yeah.
I wonder if there's something that we're inheriting also from Dad. I mean, I know he didn't have powers, he didn't have a dragon, but
that was a book.
No, but like maybe, I don't know, just that there's something that would do that, and then it would kind of be a either or, you know what I'm saying? Like it would be mirrored that way. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be interesting.
Maybe it's got something to do with her hair.
The whole silver thing. Interesting. Much to think about. I guess it's one of those unanswered questions, but I'm sure we'd see that in the second book, I would say. The whole like new
for sure.
thing. That's got to be something huge that they go over, I would say. Do you guys think this has an overall theme?
It's just not very profound, but like working with what you got.
Sure.
You don't need to change. I think at one point, just because you have choices doesn't mean you've lost agency or something, because you've got something. It doesn't.
Sure.
What's that quote again?
Also,
yeah. Just because you gained power doesn't mean you lost agency. Page 370.
Yeah.
That's a good one. I think also it's got to be something about growth.
Sure.
And loving yourself through all of your stages.
Yeah, that you can grow to topple a local government near you as well.
Mm-hmm.
Or even your own
local government.
I do think there's definitely, maybe not as blatant, like I don't think it's the story's purpose, but I do think there's a highlight on the, again, having like a chronic illness and what that means to you.
Disability is not an inability.
Yeah, as far as that option, because I know Rebecca says she has that and her sons have that as well.
How about also don't fucking lie? Yeah,
touching people's faces.
Damn, man, this poor girl. Everybody has fucking lied to this girl.
Yeah.
All I wanted was to, whenever I realized with the face touching, all I wanted to do was I just wanted to stop and I wanted to go back to the beginning and reread it and pay attention to every time he touched her face.
Sure.
Yeah, I wanted that too, but then I didn't have that much time on my hands.
Yeah, there was
Dane touched her so many fucking times.
Yeah.
I thought that maybe it was just like a he loved her thing, and then I was like, no, I don't think he loved her at all.
No. Man. But I feel like if she had become a scribe, they might have gotten married.
No. I think
she would never have changed.
She would not have changed, but I don't think that he really wanted like a quiet, demure kind of a
I don't think he would stop being a dragon rider or anything. Like,
no, I think he would absolutely like cheat on her.
I mean,
well, he was with that other one, wasn't she?
He kind of seems the really one that torn up on rules. So I don't know if I'd get a cheating implication personally, with him having such a stringent self.
No, I think that he absolutely would be like, well, you know, honey, it makes perfect sense logically because I don't know if I'm going to make it home to see you.
I don't see it, but by all means. I mean, regardless, they would still get married, I feel like.
I think he needs to get eaten.
I feel like he'll come into the next part of it because I am interested to see where this, you know, there's a lot of unanswered questions we've been over. What the fuck happened with Brennan? What the hell's the new dragon ability? First of all, how did a dragon even grow up in 3 days? That seems like a lot. And
so I think that she was out for longer than 3 days.
3 months?
Yeah, I think it was months.
I don't know.
I think the mending took a long time.
I don't know. I think Zayden talks about it being a certain amount of days, but maybe I'm wrong.
Having been mended and healed, I think that the main theme of the book is drugs are good. So she was very drug positive.
True. Even Zayden smokes weed. I was like, yeah.
I was in there. I was like, whoa.
I loved that. I was like, now this is a book character I could date. This works for me. But yeah.
I was wondering when they were going to have sex on top of a dragon. And then I realized that they could talk to each other. And then I was like, oh, so probably not then. Good to know.
Probably not. Probably not. But it'd be interesting to see how Dane comes into the second book. Like, the problem that they have, you know, they basically send a bunch of people to fucking die. Which is going to be a problem, I think. And then
just a little.
I wonder if our friend Rhiannon's going to be our friend after this as well.
Oh.
I don't know if we're going to be able to keep that.
Ooh, what if she ends up with Dane?
Oh. Gross, but okay.
She's not a rule follower, though.
I mean, you don't have to be exactly like your partner to date them. I mean, they'd be fucking.
But that's...
yeah. Very sex positive group.
So, could be. It would be interesting, though, to see how she feels about this whole situation, because they were obviously all in as cadets, so to speak, but with these new kind of revelations, I wonder if Violet will want to try to bring her into that, like try and somehow communicate the truth to her, or if it would be too big of a risk.
Oh, or if she's going to send her a letter.
That would be really fucking risky, but maybe.
She's going to send her a letter, yeah.
It's possible.
And then they're going to meet at her sister's house.
Yeah.
And then Mira's going to be there, and then that's how they're going to be like, Mira, no, I'm not evil. What do you mean? If you come back right now, we can get this straightened out. They'll understand. No, because they're evil. That's a lie. I'm pro-military at this point.
I almost feel like Rihanna will be that way too. I feel like she'll think about it.
I wonder if we're going to get a fight between Brennan and Mira.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. And then Mira kills Brennan.
No.
Oh, and then Violet has to kill her sister.
He has to heal the family.
There's some shit you cannot mend.
You must overthrow.
It would be kind of cool, like, if the mom did kill the dad, if, like, the 3 siblings, like, ended up killing the mom at some point. I feel like that'd be fun. Like, they all work together because he can heal and, like, mend. Or maybe, you know, if he can take apart life as well, that would be an interesting implication.
Unmend.
Mm-hmm. And then you have Mira, who can basically protect Violet with those wards. And then you get Violet to be able to fight with her mom on that stormy level. It'd be a fun battle.
We also never got to what the fuck the wards are made of.
Vibes.
I thought they were the dragons. And then I was like, oh, but wait, no, it's like shit in a box. What? Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, no, fine. Totally fine.
What I don't understand is obviously the dragons have been around a lot longer than the people. So, and the dragons know that the griffins and the venom are like for realsies. So does that mean that the dragons are also like, nah, bro, I ain't gonna go save you. I hope you die over there. Okay, bye. Or are the dragons...
I wonder if there's different factions and that's part of the reason
dragon
why
politics.
Dragon politics is kept out of the...
Yeah. Right, because if it exposed too much, hypothetically, to ignorant humans type of vibe. Interesting.
I could see what if they're old, though, because, like, they've been around for years and years and years. So they must know. So that means that every single dragon is keeping it a secret from their rider?
Yeah.
I mean, as far as, like, why they're protecting the wards, you mean?
Yeah.
Or maybe it just never came up.
That's such a cop-out.
I feel like why is just because they want to protect their youth, but I don't know about if the means are not something that they argue about, potentially. I mean, there's definitely more to that we do not know. Because a lot of the times we get told things through Violet's perspective, and well, she's very smart. She is told nothing. So...
Isn't it kind of weird to have mystical animal radio, though? Like, just that they can all talk to each other. Interspecies chit-chat. Like, what the fuck? You could just talk to griffins? You're going to talk to the ants on the ground, too? Why? There's a big wyvern. Why don't you talk to it? And aren't they smaller than dragons instead of bigger than dragons?
I think it depends on the dragon type.
It depends on the lore.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, as far as talking, that didn't, like, throw me off. I mean, I guess in a way, I was kind of like, why are the dragons, like, totally talking in their heads? I mean, that's fine, but I'm just used to, like, fucking Smog or something. He was, like, just gonna chit-chat with you right there. I was like, damn, he can't just open his mouth and speak? But,
what's the other one? Dragonheart.
Yeah.
That was definitely made before you were born. But
Blue doesn't know that one.
No.
It's a movie.
Isn't it based off a book or something?
The dragon is voiced by Sean Connery.
Sean Connery was...
Yeah, I don't know who that is.
Wait, you don't know who Sean Connery is?
No, not by name.
Well, he was an actor.
Was because he was from your guys'
I don't know if he acts.
No.
Fuck you. I don't know if he acts.
You do this to yourself.
He was in League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
I haven't seen that.
And
James Bond.
I've never seen
that. Yeah, he was one of the son of a...
That's like a 40, 50-year-old man move. Seriously.
He's an old man. All right, moving on, because now I just want to cry.
The only thing I was really curious at this point, because I think we've been over a lot of unanswered questions. We talked a lot about the characters. What about, besides characters that we like or dislike, anyone that you guys identified with?
I love the idea about you're not incapable. You're just using what you've got to get through and making everything work for you. I love that concept. And the fact that she doesn't, quote unquote, fix herself. That she doesn't just end up being perfect and normal like everybody else after she puts in a little bit of hard work. And I also love the fact that the growth that she does make happens over a span of time, and it takes actual work. Like, she works out to strengthen her body.
My question about that, though, is if that seems like such a simple fix. Like, I don't want to say fix, but it seems like such a simple thing for her to do to help her physically. Why has none of the doctors, none of the people that she's ever come in contact with before that even suggested working out?
Because they're enablers who don't think that she's capable of doing the things.
Yeah, I also think, well, they probably had the idea that she would hurt herself in the process and thus maybe do more damage than good. You know?
Well, maybe if she has access, unlimited unfettered access to menders and healers.
Well, she also didn't even know she was going to have to be like a fucking fighter until like 6 months before school.
Yeah, and if, again, she, going off of what you just said, has, access 100% of the time to people who can just magically heal her.
Then why do that?
Why fix it when you can just put a Band-Aid on it?
Yeah, and what problems is she going to run into as a scribe to even maybe warrant all of that too?
She's going to get trapped inside of the door that gets sealed.
I mean, maybe.
Wonder if that's how Mom killed Dad. She trapped him in there and then sucked all the air out of the room.
No, that's not what Mom would do.
I think she did it.
Suffocate him slowly.
That's not in your face enough for her. No, it wasn't slowly. She didn't even care about it.
Well, we'll see. I guess we'll find out, because I do think she murked that man. But since you mentioned that about the character and that being like a character that you identify with, is that something that you feel like you do in your personal life, as far as obviously different because it's mental, not physical? But is that something that you identify with as well, that process, or?
No, but it sounds nice.
All right. Maybe just, I don't know.
Hey, this is fantasy. Leave my unhinged brain alone.
I mean, it's just something to think about.
Fuck you.
Goofy.
So I would say that I'd have to identify with the practice dummy in her room.
Okay.
It gets ripped to shreds, because that's what I feel like sometimes. And then just half of me, the broken pieces just get passed on to the next person. Here you go, fix it.
This is fine. I mean, I do relate to Brennan being like, I feel differently about a huge political matters in my family, so I'm ghosting everybody. Iconic behavior, to be honest. Love that for him. I also think maybe a little bit of Xaden, a little bit. Mostly just in the way that I didn't really feel that until the very end when we got to his perspective. And it's just very different. The way that Violet sees him is that cool, mysterious, this, blah, blah. And then you read his point of view, and man is on the verge of a mental breakdown at all times. All fucking times. He is stressed, and he manages to say something kind of witty or flirty, and he manages to do this, but in his head there's 8 sentences describing where his mind is at right now, and it's all bad. And I feel like that's often how I speak, where it's just a loop of doom in my brain, but then I'm just fun, and I'm like, oh my god, guys, isn't that so crazy? Haha, I'm so glad to see you. And then inside it's I wish I was dead. I have all these responsibilities. I want to die. You know what I mean?
On the inside you're Taryn, on the outside you're Indarna.
Honestly? Well, who knows anymore, though? She's all grown up.
I love the gold dragon. I kind of also identify with the gold dragon.
Will she still be gold?
I don't know. Feathers? Still have feathers?
I don't know about the feathers. They'll probably be gone.
And fur? And paws?
Yeah, that'll all be gone, I'm sure.
Oh my god. It's like a flying cat.
Space kitty.
All right, Blue.
I thought you were going to say, though, that you identified with the gold dragon because you are also small and adorable.
But I'll grow up one day and I'll be super tough. No, I don't really feel...
Rare.
I love both of those. I love both of those dragons, but I do not feel a personal... I don't know. I wouldn't say I identify with either one of them at this point.
Tell you what, the other night...
I really identify with a crotchety old grandpa sometimes.
I mean, mood, fair.
Wow. The other day I had 2 margaritas and I definitely woke up. I'm apparently a lightweight now in my coming age.
And your old age.
I woke up with a hangover after 2 margaritas, and I swear to God, I felt like the venom.
Oh my
the veins
God.
and shit around the eyes.
Just going through it. There's a circle of death around you.
I wish I could conjure a dragon.
Oh my God.
Shit.
Goofy. But since we've gone over this whole book, I guess it is time. It's my pick, so I guess we're looking at Bae of the Day.
It's me.
It's always you. You know that. It's honestly difficult, though, because you would think I would say Xaden immediately. And, I mean, he is a baddie. We love him. But also, Taryn?
No, I know who it is. It's Liam.
Wow, he's dead. Not my type. I look for a pulse.
He had a pulse for the whole book except for the last little.
No, Liam's all right. But yeah, I don't know. In a funny way, like if I was a dragon, I'd probably have a little crush. Turns a little kitty, but I guess I'll just say Satan for the sake of. I already get enough scaly jokes from the community because of my taste preference in aliens and all of those things. So I don't really need to put any more weight behind that by picking an actual dragon. But just know he is in my heart of hearts. But Satan definitely wins for this one for us. For me, at least.
Yeah.
But with that being said, before we get too off topic here, I'll go ahead and read us out. We want to thank you guys for listening. This, of course, has been Smutty Scriptures, reading Fourth Wing all the way to the end. Next episode, we will be diving into Priest. We'll probably get through that one all in one sesh, I believe, as well. So, looking forward to that. Make sure to rate the podcast 5 stars, guys. I see all you guys listening to it. Give me my 5-star rating. I'm not asking. I'm demanding. I'm getting sick of it. Give me my 5 stars.
Really quick, could we just quick shout out to Australia, who's low-key obsessed with us? I love that. California, Georgia, hello.
We love to see it.
We love you guys.
Yeah, y'all are too fucking sweet for supporting. And of course, you can always get more Smutty Scriptures content. We got an Instagram page, we got TikTok, we got Etsy going, which you can access from the Instagram page as well. And these two are always making super fun designs. A lot of it's based on books that we read, book club stuff, some merch, even merch for the podcast now, which I love. I own the black Smutty Scriptures jacket, and it is so cute. So, don't be afraid to pick one up yourself and send me a picture because I will cry. We will all probably cry, but we would love to see it.
Leave my emotions alone.
But with that being said, we will go ahead and say church is adjourned.
Yay! All right, now I gotta go back to church and read Priest.
Oh, right. I guess, yeah, we're getting right back into church, aren't we? Well, amen. Am I right, Father? Or should I say Daddy?
Fuck me, Father.